people are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Do not come. Do not come. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat Sunday night shit show. How are you, Pat? How's your weekend? How you doing?
I am good. I just came from my parents' house. We had a little, just haven't seen everybody in a while, lunch together.
Nice.
It was nice. And they were asking me, are you going to go to that Bernie rally, Bernie and AOC rally coming up? They're very excited about it, which is
that's nice that they're excited. Are you going to RSVP? They're coming to Sacramento?
I think they're in Auburn. They're close.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't even know exactly when. I got a text from one of the Bernie guys,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
I just didn't respond. And kind of with my parents, it's the same thing. I didn't want to diffuse their energy.
Yeah.
Because my dad has liked Bernie, but my mom actually liked Hillary back in the day. So it's always created a little rift. But now they're all sort of on this team. We need Team Bernie.
Yeah.
But it's like, but they still are in a two-party system and think you got to vote Democrat. And my dad's talking about moving to Canada.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, Dad, excuse me. All these things are terrible, but in all fairness, none of them are going to materially affect my dad in any way. They're old, retired. They got their big house.
Right. Yeah.
So the panic to move to Canada, like I should be moving to Canada.
Right. We, the rest of us. Yeah. Or I mean, I don't even know Canada. Like, is Canada the place?
Yeah, somewhere.
Right. Like that's the thing is like, where do we go? And then, we didn't even address this. But there was a horrible earthquake in Myanmar. And like, I just feel like the tentacles of mass destruction are everywhere. Like, I don't know where you go to not feel it. One way or the other, empire is going to get you.
Yeah. I don't even remember the conversation, but somebody was just talking to me about, I know what it was. Cause I was posting the videos of that Nile guy in Thailand that rescues all the dogs.
Yes. Yeah.
And they pointed out this island that they have a cat problem. And they're like, this would be perfect for you. You could become Nile, but the cat guy on the island who rescues cats. And that sounds wonderful. Dream job. You just on an island rescuing cats. But then I'm like, okay, well, what's the prospects of a tsunami in the island? And it's bad. You're going to die on an island there somewhere. Yeah. They're all going to die. It's just a matter of time. So,
yeah. Where do we escape? I've been escaping with my Cube Master game. I'm just like zenning out and ignoring life for 3 minutes at a time, 3-minute stints. Whenever Pat can't, because we have different. I'm iPhone and he's Android, so whenever I always have my computer open, and iPhone people can still text me and I can see it on my computer. But Android people, it won't go through if my phone is on airplane mode, which is what I do when I'm playing my game. So those are my
her game is passive aggressive for she's sick of my shit.
La la la. No, that's not la la la. All right, let's say hi to everybody. Thank you for being here, our pup heroes and sheroes. We love and adore all of you guys. We are almost closing out our 6th column. And then, as I've been threatening for months, we will do maybe a running scroll, something a little more pizzazzy. I say we, and then I'll look at Pat and be like, what do you think? No, I could do that. I could do that.
And I'll put a whole intro video we'll use once in front of it or something. Which will take me 10 hours to make like a 15-second clip, and we'll get copyrighted for it or something.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like, you can no longer. But thank you all. We really appreciate all of your support, and please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. Thanks to all of you who have been retweeting and commenting and all of that. We really appreciate it.
And if you could actually leave a comment on the YouTube video, we're trying to work the algorithm a little more. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but we use some bold words on our caption. I watched this expert YouTube guy.
We got some tips.
He's like, I put this video out and it only had 1,000 retweets, shares on YouTube. Put this one with now in bold letters or whatever, caps, 10,000. So we're trying here.
Yeah. And I think you and I have both been sort of reticent to do it because it feels so sort of like sensationalism and like silly, but you know, what are we going to do? Don't blame the player, blame the game.
No.
All right. Yes, and thank you, the Runs, for saying if the show is on Wednesday, we'll have to multiply the Lila is Right comments for her birthday. Thank you for thinking about that and reminding me we will not be having a show on Wednesday, but you can bring that good Lila is Right energy here tonight and next Sunday and from here on out.
Yeah, well, we'll just call this your birthday show. I'll let you be right tonight. I will let you be right tonight for your birthday.
Thanks. That's very generous. That's very generous of you. All right. Should we do our other cheers?
Yeah, let's go with our cheers.
All right. Do you want to introduce or do you want me to?
This is, look, there are a million protest clips we could show for people out in the streets protesting for Palestine. And all of it matters. We got to keep doing it. But I appreciated this short one just because it's people in Tasmania, of all places, putting together a video. And it's got some emotion and heart to it. And I don't know, it just touched me a little bit. So here's a short one.
لا مكان له في الوجود. That is lovely, and God, I just feel like I'm always close to tears these days. So, but that's really beautiful. I love it, and cheers to them. I think more and more people, I think the global South has been aware of this for much longer than people in, the global North, Western countries, however we want to frame it, and try not to make ourselves the focus, but that we are all Palestine. And it's very clear now that whatever is happening there is also how empire has conducted itself across the whole world. And whatever we do abroad boomerangs right back. So even if it's only for selfish reasons, which I know is none of our crowd, but it's really important that we all keep our eyes focused on that. So thank you. Reflect the Sun. You are like our underwriter for this whole show for years now. Thank you. We really appreciate you for your.
Absolutely. If you ever need me to personally go after someone on Twitter, just send me a DM or whatever you'd like to put me to work doing. I got you. Need an electrician?
Yeah.
Let me know.
All right. I like that. I want to hear how that goes. I'm curious to see what happens. All right. I'm reading all the like Lila is right because it's my early birthday gift that I'm right.
Fair.
Okay.
Here you go.
There we go. Lila's right. And Zainab says I look punk today just because of my little choker.
Oh, punk. It's a choker look. I like it. It's a good look.
Yeah. I'm trying to feel younger, Punk.
Well, 40, I know 40's gonna be hard on you.
Yeah, 40 is, but I do hear it's a really good decade. That's what I hear. If only I remembered it.
Says hello.
That's like
Shall we spin the wheel?
Yeah, let's get that wheel up there. Here we go. What? Here we go. Get ready.
Yeah, baby. Bring some joy. What do we got? You have a perfect record.
All right.
Probably lifetime almost.
Wait, what did you say? A perfect record of getting this right on the first
landing on shots right away.
I'm pouring my shot. Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, look at that.
Puppet. Strike, do you want to push the button? Let's listen to some birds. Good thing I got headphones on. It's probably losing her shit right now.
Those are great.
We're so educational here on this show.
We're so educational. That what is it, Australian bustard that sounded like a roar almost.
Yeah, and I've already forgotten because I don't pay attention. But the second one sounded like a computer, like computer sounds, like modem sounds or something. You know, it's like, what? We got Zena's cats losing their shit. There we go.
Oh, yeah, those noises this morning. I'll have to put it up for the next one. But Lucky, our dog, was just howling, and when I howled back, it was like for 5 minutes we were just howling at each other. It was so funny. I wonder, like, I just wish so much that we knew what was going on in their brains. I really did.
Yeah, I told you I didn't buy it, but there was an app that you could allegedly train based on responses your cat makes, and you'd push the button and your cat would say something, and it would eventually learn, you know, through AI. Sorry, this was before we knew AI was bad.
Yeah,
what your cat was saying, and everything was like, feed me, let me out, feed me, pet me, feed me. It didn't matter. So I don't believe there's a way to communicate with cats. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Dogs, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think probably it's a little more complex than just feed me and let me out, but I don't want to give any of them too much credit. They're not writing poems in their heads. Okay. The show guide for tonight. What are our topics? We got our hands-off approach. We told you so. What First Amendment? Still genociding, and one good thing. So yesterday was a day of protesting all across the country and even across the world, as it has been happening. This is just a quick little blip of the protests that were going on around the United States.
Across the country and around the world today, tens of thousands of people turned out for what organizers say has been the biggest single day of protests against President Trump and his second-term policies and actions. In this country, more than 1,000 rallies were planned in small towns and major cities from coast to coast. Ali Rogan begins our coverage.
In Washington, crowds descended on the National Mall, calling for lawmakers to rein in President Trump.
He's right now destroying our economy. He's taken away all of our allies. We're a pariah in the world. And Congress sits back and does nothing.
The mass protest, dubbed the Hands-Off National Day of Action, was organized by advocacy groups that oppose the president's policies during his first term. Protesters railed against Mr. Trump's recent moves to lay off scores of federal workers, revoke protections for immigrants, and implement sweeping tariffs. But for Democratic leaders, the president's threat to democracy took center stage.
Our founders wrote a constitution that does not begin with "we the dictators." The preamble says, "We the people."
The movement spread far beyond the nation's capital. From the sidewalks of South Bend to downtown Boston and New York City, demonstrators took to the streets in protests both big and small to oppose President Trump's agenda. That resistance echoed around the globe. In Germany, England, and Portugal, protesters flocked to public squares to show support and solidarity with Americans.
Freedom is at stake in the United States and for the whole world with what Donald Trump is doing. And we need to stand up.
For PBS News Weekend, I'm Ali Rogan.
So I have a lot of thoughts. Do you have any initial response?
Yeah, you want to start with mine? Okay. I as Zena said, I have mixed feelings on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just mixed feelings, it's complex and it's all over the place, right? Like, on one hand,
feed me, let me out.
Feed me, let me out. Let me out of this country immediately. I just want some healthcare, man.
Yeah.
But the first thing that jumps in my mind is look at all the coverage this is getting on TV, right? That's great. But to pretend that there haven't been Palestinian people protesting the Palestinian war, the genocide of Palestinians in this scale on a greater level consistently for 2 fucking years almost, like, is just peak, bullshit.
Lit.
So that
Lit.
part, but then
yeah,
the obvious other part is like, these are like the Bernie rallies. Like it's pussy hats. It's you're let's get upset and rally people to say we don't agree with what's happening. Okay, that's good. It shows solidarity that we're all are on the same page, and a lot of the public is unhappy with things, and it reflects on what will happen to Republicans if they don't change course by the midterms. But none of it's call for an action. Like it's let's tell me the tangible thing we are going to do to stop this now.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. I think another part of it is it's what, so many of us on the left said is that like liberals just totally went to sleep for the 4 years of Biden, for the 8 years of Barack Obama. And there were plenty of things that were going on domestically and on the world stage that were repugnant, grotesque, atrocious, horrifying. And for some reason that, wasn't enough to get these same people up off the couch or the cable media to cover the people who were protesting. And it only ever matters. It only ever gets attention when it's Republicans doing it. So I guess on some level, I mean, that's great. I think, the fact that part of the demands of the hands off that was listed on this was I think it was put together mostly by Indivisible, which is like a,
halfway between Bernie and
Democrat.
centrist.
Yeah, exactly. Liberal Democrats. But what one of the lists that one of the items there, and like I agree with a lot of them, but as you said, they aren't actionable. They're not saying what the action is, but okay, but NATO, hands off NATO, like what in the world are you talking about? NATO has done more damage to the rest of the world. Like, why would you want your hands off NATO? We should abolish NATO, number one. Number two, they were told explicitly not to speak on Palestine. So like one group that is the Working Class and Houseless Organizing Alliance that was asked to present and to speak at the hands-off rallies was then explicitly told not to talk about Palestine. And so then you have to look and it's like, well, wait, if the same people who want to ignore a genocide are certainly not going to be able to fight for democracy. Like if genocide isn't galvanizing, like what are you fighting for, really?
Yeah, I mean, you took the number one reason people have been in the streets already and say, no, don't be here for that. Not that. Not the reason that cost Democrats the election. But also, let's pretend as Democrats they're going to parachute in. Shh, here's my parachute. Oh, we're part of this. We are the left resisting because of this hands-off event. And they all got to speak everywhere. They're Democrats speaking. And what are you doing? You literally are in power. And, it's one thing to use the bully pulpit, when you have some actionable thing or something, but like showing up at these things, it just feels like a campaign lawn sign to these guys. And for them to act like they're even running these things, which they're not, the whole thing just pisses me off. I mean, I think it's good. I don't want to say it's bad. I'm glad it happened. We need this to happen, but we need to get it out of the hands of Democrats, and we need the centrists at these things to know the Democrats are just bullshit artists at these events. They're not actually doing anything. If we're going to stop them, we stop them, not the fucking politicians. They're not going to do anything to stop them at all. Nothing, not a thing.
Yeah. I mean, any protest that has Nancy Pelosi, Jamie Raskin, and Eric Swalwell, Amy Klobuchar showing up, like they have spent decades fighting against everything we believe in, right? So like,
Yeah,
we're fighting for different things.
And to see these events sort of normalize them, because take this event away and have Nancy Pelosi go anywhere, and she's going to be massively protested.
Yep.
But here she gets to show up as an ally and gets a microphone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just it's rebranding these people as fighters because they're on the picket line side of things, is how it feels. But they're not. They're not doing shit.
Yeah, they're not doing shit. And just as we saw, I mean, with Cory Booker doing his, 25-hour speech, and then, spamming all of our inboxes with, begging for donations, then, well, okay, we can talk about that later. I shouldn't bob and weave that way. Okay, before we show, I wanted to show Eric Swalwell, because this to me is just so illustrative of what it all is for regular Democrats. Here it is.
Because as you stand here right now, we have gone from a Trump slump to a Trump train wreck. We are going into a red recession. Our 401ks are 201ks. Our costs at Walmart and Home Depot and Target, where 4 out of 5 of the things we buy are from overseas, are going up. And where is Donald Trump? He's golfing. So to Donald Trump, I say, get your ass off the golf course and face the people. This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like. This is what it looks like.
That's rough to hear. This is beating fascism. What did you change? You didn't do anything. This is what maybe the start of a movement to do something could look like. But if you're saying these people out here, so we're going to win in the midterms.
Yep. But don't talk about Palestine or genocide.
Yeah.
Hands on NATO. Like, okay. Like,
painful.
Yeah, really painful. And yeah, I mean, I'd rather see hands off workers' power also, which of course they never will do, because, some very prominent Democrats were on the board of places like Walmart. But just for the
Hillary.
Yeah, exactly. As Truth to Tweet says, we are on our own, and connecting with other people, it is infectious, it's contagious, and it's like, okay, we are all together. We're not just sitting off in our little silos and putting our head down and feeling depressed. We're connecting with other people, and then that is an opening to keep moving forward if we harness that energy. I mean, yeah.
Do we have the clip of Kamala with the contagious stuff? Because that just reminded me of that. Because I don't know if we did. We probably don't have it, but
I don't think we have that right now. But
she had a speech where she was saying, fascism is contagious, but also I forget what she said was contagious. The resistance, or to some effect, or something.
That's not the "I told you so" thing that we're showing right later.
I don't think
we didn't have quite. I don't know. All right. Well, let's just.
It's my fault. We didn't have as much time together because of my family. Blame them.
Oh gosh, no, it's fine. I just,
No.
We're trying to have our little map here.
But my thought that I wanted to get to real quick was, whatever she suggested was not the answer either. Like, what's contagious is violence and seeing things that work. Like, I don't want to promote violence, but like
direct action.
Like, a union gets a victory, that's contagious. The next union does. A Luigi or Luigi's, like
Manja,
those things, that's where we have our power on the left. Yeah. Let's be real about it.
Yeah. And all these Democrats are corporatists, and they have fought against the working class every chance they've gotten. That said, I do think that, first of all, there were tons of pro-Palestinian protesters, just not shown on cable media. But most of the protests, from what I saw, when people were uploading their own, or, independent journalists were uploading their own videos, there were tons of pro-Palestinian protesters. Of course, Code Pink was there, but like in every city, because as we all know, people have been protesting against the genocide for 18 months straight. So even though it hasn't been covered by cable media, people have been up and out and doing this for 18 months. So those people, I think, were very prominent on the ground. And then the other thing is, the Lemkin Institute Against Genocide put out a statement saying that they stand with the hundreds of thousands of people who came out in the United States on Saturday to protest fascism at home and genocide abroad. These people were exercising their constitutional rights in a country that wishes to curtail or completely abandon these rights. We remind Americans of the 3.5% rule, the minimum percentage of the population needed to engage in civil disobedience and nonviolent protest to increase the likelihood of a positive outcome, such as regime change or course correction. In the USA, this would amount to about 12 million people. The USA is getting there. Consistently showing up to demonstrate your defiance is the best way to build numbers. Your presence matters. Show up and be strong. And I really appreciated that, even though they put in the genocide part of it, or anti-genocide part of it, that was not officially the indivisible, hands-off protest, platform.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to put the little asterisk in. I mean, I love that too. Absolutely. It's important to know that it does only take 3.5% historically to change something, right? But the missing piece to that is when you get 3.5% of the population radicalized like this and upset to where they're in the streets, 0.0005% of those people are going to be violent and disrupt and truly cause a schism. I don't know what you want to call it, but like that puts fear in people. They see that we can't go back to normal. They see that this is escalating, getting worse. They see that there's jeopardy to their business, their lives, their whatever. And until you get to that 3.5%, you don't get the radicalized percentage you need also. So that's another piece. Like we can all hug this out. If we always just hug this out, we will get nothing. I mean, you can't have millions in the street over Palestine and get nothing still, and think we can just be in the streets and more people in the streets is going to change things. Yeah. So, I mean, it's really hard because, you want to feel excited that, like, listen, in Republican Florida, the Villages, they were out there. People are angry. But as we're all saying, if they are not helped to focus on what needs to change, not just saying, fuck you, Trump, oh, Orange Cheeto, Mussolini, whatever, all that kind of stuff. He's golfing, blah, it has to be more substantive and goal oriented. Like, what do we want? What would fix this? And imagine if you have all these people at these protests and you say, we are not going to have Democratic speakers either. Fuck them. They're part of the problem. And you should get up in front of your city and say, you know why there are no Democrats speaking tonight? Because they failed us too.
Yeah. They're 100% complicit. 100%. Yeah. And instead, unfortunately, the difference between this and the pink pussy hat marches at the beginning of Trump's first regime is that there is a bigger, all-encompassing issue that is affecting a lot more people. I mean, the crazy thing is a majority of the Democratic Party is against this genocide. And the Democratic Party isn't listening to them either. But like, that's why Kamala lost. And so, I'm like waffling 180, where part of me is like, they're just doing this, Indivisible and all these corporate Democratic organizations to say like, oh, the voters are upset. They want us to fight more. Here we are fighting, and we're going to swear a little bit, and we're going to pump our fists, and it's a protest. And it feels like a lot of, grandstanding and performance art. So that part of it feels like just another way of trying to siphon everybody back into the Democratic Party. But the other side of it is there are so many people who are furious, terrified, and that's affecting more people than were like materially being affected in 2016.
It's very different than 2016 in that, 2016 was we don't like the temperament. We don't like the tone from our leaders. We don't like grabbing by the pussy stuff. We don't,
right.
But there was the legislation being even pushed then wasn't severe like it is now. Like now it's like, okay, half these people are out because he's wrecking the economy, which he's clearly fucking doing.
Right.
And that's a reason enough to be in the streets. Right.
Right.
But wrecking the economy, the Palestine stuff, the leaning into racism, fascism, that's the, he's got everyone mad in both parties, even his own party with Elon Musk running the fucking party.
Yep.
Nobody likes this stuff. So there's a chance to leverage this into something instead of just I don't like this tone and the way he is.
Yeah.
As a, it's very different.
It's not going to come from the Democratic leaders, but I think it could come from the people who are showing up. Exactly.
Right. It can come from, can we get a part 2 of today without the Democrats in charge of it?
Right. Which they've been doing. It's just, I mean, that's the thing is like, they've been doing it. We've been doing it. Protesters have been doing it. But the media only covers the ones that Democrats come and say, fuck Trump at,
Which is why it has to be a direct action, a general strike, a something. Give me the something. Like, okay, I get even this could be the perfect first phase for the next something.
Right.
But we need true leaders to come forward and say, here's the something. Let's fucking all do this.
Yeah.
Not, hey, vote for the best independent on the ballot or who votes Democrat. Which is Bernie's message. Like,
don't be a purist. Now's not the time. It's just, there's too much fascism on the rise. Which is exactly like, that never gets deeper introspection. That's exactly what got us here is always voting lesser evil, always saying it's not the time, always saying, gay people can wait, trans people can wait, Black people can wait, Native Americans can wait, like everybody, like that's always the thing. Because this is more important because, the most important election of our lifetime. And that's what's got us to almost total fascism. The thing that's interesting and different is, even Joe Rogan, and I don't watch him normally, but there was a clip where he, he's upset by people just being whisked off the streets. Libertarians who like voted for Trump, Dave Portnoy or whatever, like all of the firings, the lack of respect for veterans, for government workers, for, it's Americans who are married to some of these permanent residents or visa holders. And so American citizens' rights are also being violated, not just, guest workers or guest students who, of course, I know we all know their rights should not be violated either. But like as all of these things start really to destroy the fabric of anything we consider being American, like I think Democrats think they're going to squash it. That's the Democratic Party's whole existence, right? It's labor leaders. You squash the revolt and you pave the way for the right.
Yeah, I think where the Democrats have an easy cakewalk to win, which is all they care about, they're not here to save us or change anything. They just want to win in the midterms. That sort of matters for their optics. They don't disappear as a party,
right?
And we don't revolt and do things to them. But the economy stuff from Trump has hit everybody, and he can hide behind all this racism. He can hide behind all these things that appeal to the fringe parts of his party, but tariffs are stupid, and the whole fucking world knows tariffs are stupid. And he's losing right-wing radio on this stuff. So there's people in his own party. I mean, billionaires in the last 2 weeks lost $500 billion. The top 500 richest people in the US lost $500 billion. That's not sustainable for these guys before one of them takes him out.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. They're not going to listen to us. It's going to be like when Nancy Pelosi cooed Biden. It was because the donors were like, you got to get him out. Like, everybody was willing to pretend that he had a working brain for the last 4 years. But when it became undeniable, donors, that is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and when you see all the Republican rallies, or attempted, not rallies, but town halls and things where they Congress people, governors, whatever, try to speak to their constituents, and they're getting booed and mocked out of the from actual Republicans. It's going to go too far, and those people are going to turn. And then there's the window then to say, I'm not saying there's going to be a coup against Trump from the right within his party, but there's going to be so much angst that he's not going to be popular. Democrats are going to win the midterms. We're going to have a stalled government, so the formula is already out there. We know where this goes if we don't do shit.
Yeah.
If we don't do shit, midterms, Democrats win. We have a divided government. Nothing worse gets passed, but some worse gets passed, but mostly
probably will.
The fascism kind of peaks. They keep building cop cities. But economically, they get rid of the tariff bullshit. That's inevitable. They're gonna have to pull that stuff. There's just no way that's sustainable for a country. But
what's gonna happen because of Trump's idiocy and just chaotic policies with tariffs, other countries are already aligning. Like, which I think is great. Like, that's important. But so many people are being hurt here. Like, when you lose your job, when prices go up, when, you can't pay your rent. I mean, and that's the thing is, like, yes, those direct actions, like rent freezes or not rent freezes, but, refusing to pay rent, like banding together as like rent unions, or what am I saying? Tenant unions. Thank you. My God. But, those sorts of things are important. Refusing to pay debt, pay off your credit cards, refusing to pay your medical, but that takes huge groups, which is why it is important to harness this energy.
Right. And I guess that's where I'm going with it, is that we see the path of where all this leads. Like, if we just let the Democrats sort of run the show and propaganda rule.
Yeah.
Like I said, midterms, it's a wash and blah, blah, blah. And if that's what happens, if Democrats come back and win the midterms, and we don't do anything by then, we're not going to do anything, because once that happens in the midterms, the centrist Dems are going to go back to sleep, because they're going to be unaffected by things as they are right now.
Yep.
Like, they're going to go back to sleep immediately upon being able to, squash half of Trump's power. They're going to be like, that's good. We did it. We won. Victory. Democrats. 2025 or 8. That's when we really take back the country.
Yeah.
But we did enough now. I don't have time to protest.
Yeah. It'll be the ratchet effect.
Flags.
Yeah. Once again. Yeah. So, I mean, I am really torn with the protests. It just feels, again, like people were protesting under Biden, but they got no coverage. And these protests, I am hoping, because I think those protests have been so well organized and with such discipline, like all of the campus encampments, there is tremendous amount of prep work that goes into, not talking to the media, having a message that we can all agree on, that's uniform. I mean, there is discipline that goes into that. And if that can be harnessed and moved forward, that would be really phenomenal.
I think the problem is, and this goes back to that 3.5% statement, right? I don't think that applies even anymore, because the system is so owned and beholden. Like the 3.5% is based on, okay, that so much of the population is mad that Democrats want to win, so they're going to react to that 3.5%, or things are so bad that 3.5% are out there, they're going to vote Republican. So that's the meaningful, it's going to impact elections piece. And we're just past that. It doesn't matter to these guys. Like the donors matter more than even the winning part. Like it just doesn't matter.
100%. I mean, look at what like Kamala chose genocide over beating Trump. 100%.
Right. So we have all these examples of that currently. And so to just say we hit a certain percentage of people in the streets and things change, no, it's much worse than it was even when that statement became a reality, when that number became part of the lexicon of protesting. It's like, 10% in the street, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
and what
we're
will
not getting there.
Change, if recent history is any indication, what will change is more cop cities, more crackdown on speech, so that is, I mean, it's pretty terrifying. And I will be curious to see what happens in the coming weeks, not with the pro-Palestinian protesters, because they are fighting for something real. They have very specific demands. It's not just like, like a lot of liberals, if you ask them what they don't like about Trump, the first 10 things they'll say are either exactly what Biden was doing, or it will just be like mean tweets. So that's the thing that we need to help change. And for right now, it does just feel like a Democratic Party psyop.
But it will come down to, it's the economy stupid, because the tariffs thing is the stupid that's the peak stupid.
Yeah.
Just saying that's our opportunity to, you want to get people radicalized when everything is unaffordable and the president puts in place all these policies that clearly tax the middle class and poor people more on every level,
and then passes a huge tax cut which is the next order of business.
So if you want to get out there with Bernie's message, that's great, but end it with something that flips this whole thing on its head, not vote Dem. Yeah, obviously we all know.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, are we moving on to Republicans? Are we moving on to told you where are we going here?
Dealer's choice.
Spinning.
Lila, it's your birthday.
It's not. I have 3 more days.
It's your birthday week.
All right, so we had an idea of how we were going to do the show, and then now I'm thinking like I just want to quickly touch on the Cory Booker thing before we move off, even though I know we're going to get to
I agree. Their response to this fits, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because after his whole 25-hour, history-making filibuster that wasn't really a filibuster, as Sirota says, there are 2 crucial the part that we already talked about, where he wasn't actually making any demands, he wasn't filibustering anything, but he also scheduled it at the same time that the committee he heads was supposed to have an investigation of big tech, where he has a lot of friends who give him a lot of money. So he got to avoid being there, and then right away leaves and is part of a uniform consent to advance Trump's nominee, Matt Whitaker, as the ambassador to NATO. So that doesn't show a lot of opposition to Trump or to NATO, which obviously Indivisible and the hands-off people are big fans of NATO, even though, they can pretend that Trump is so anti-deep state and he's destroying NATO. He's not destroying NATO. He's asking European countries to add more money to NATO. Like, let's stop pretending that he's a pro-peace guy. He's not. He just is a moron, and he's like, you all aren't putting in enough, and we're getting screwed by other countries because we put in too much money to the NATO pot. But if you actually hate Trump as viscerally as most of us do hate fascists, You don't approve anything he does. You don't sanction his nominee to NATO. You do not vote for Marco Rubio.
Yeah,
you don't pass anything of his.
If all we have is your electoral power, I mean your elected power, like you as a senator, Cory Booker, and you can't pass legislation, all you can do is hold stuff up, right? If you can't pass legislation, that's all you can do.
They did to Obama. Yeah.
And we come off of Democrats that say we can't do anything good for the people because of parliamentarian.
Right.
Parliamentarian says we can't do this good thing, so we can't do it. To this guy says fuck the parliamentarian, fuck every law, fuck Congress entirely, fuck all of that. And you can't hold up a fucking piece of shit like this guy. You can't hold up any of these bad people that are nominees. You can't, even for a protest vote, even if it doesn't matter, you can't fucking do anything other than this stupid 25-hour speech that has no direct, this is what the public should do in this situation. Doesn't talk about Palestine there, obviously, because he's AIPAC owned. Doesn't talk about cop cities. His whole thing's about the impending threat of Republicans. Doesn't even talk about fascism. I mean, in the way that it matters, which is the cop cities, which is the people being deported, which is ICE. With I mean, he gets into some of it, but it's all surface level shit. It's not like do something. Here's the thing. Here's a thing, and your thing, you can't even fucking not vote for the guy, and you're telling us to all do something.
He was really excited to fundraise and then tell everybody about fasting so that he didn't have to go to the bathroom for 25 hours. But again, it was just another one of these, empty gestures to show, hey, we're fighting because the polls show that people want Democrats to fight. So this is us fighting.
Here we go.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
this is fine.
This is fine. So wait, should we spin? Because are we going into Democrats or GOP now? What are we doing?
We'll ponder it while we spin.
All right. Okay. That's good. Good idea. There we go. Good idea. Pat, you're right. You're right.
You do the pondering. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. Oh my God. Another shot. And I'm already so red. I'm gonna do it, but let me just spin again before I pour it. 1 second. Close.
And shout out to this delicious beer.
Oh yeah, tell us.
Pure Project, thousands of money, which doesn't even automatically make sense. Thousands of money. Tasty.
All right, I like it.
I don't know the story behind it. Zen, let's see some frame art.
Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to?
I love that kind of stuff.
I like it. It's very like Banksy, but something you can do for your home. Like you guys, anyone can go and creatively do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. All right. Moving on to Democrats. Let's move on to Democrats. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the Democrats tie into the protests. We got some of that stuff. Let's start with that.
So a couple of interesting polls just came out. Data for Progress shows that Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician again, but this was specifically for New York Democratic primary voters, followed by at 83%, followed by Kamala Harris, which is hilarious, Liz Warren, AOC, blah, blah, whatever. But it is just interesting that, all the fear mongering and Bernie, and it was all lies. I know we know this. Bernie couldn't beat Trump. This was the 2016 thing. That was a lie. They knew he could. They had the inside polling. The whole reason that they started the Stop Bernie movement as soon as Trump won in 2016, it wasn't Stop Trump. It was Stop Bernie with the Kamala Harris's and Buttigieg and all that, was because they knew he could win and their donors did not want that. It's very clear that he is still wildly popular because of his economic policies and because people trust him. And here, this is also interesting. In the same polling, AOC leads Senator Schumer by 19 points in a hypothetical primary matchup for New York Senate, for the U.S. Senate in New York. Interesting.
Look,
I'm so done with all of this. Yeah.
Well, I'm done with it too, but can I just say I would actually, as much as I'm disgusted by AOC,
it'd be awesome.
Take his seat, take his fucking seat, right?
Yeah.
The thing with the Bernie and AOC combo rallies is, we're getting AOC running as Bernie in 2028.
Right.
And look, she could be easy to beat. She's a lightweight. She's still, maybe in 3 years she won't be such a lightweight, but she's getting trained and she's getting, endorphin feedback from her little TikTok videos in bed. Like, oh my God, it doesn't meet the moment with fascism.
Yeah.
And a Republican on the right could come in and beat that message, even if it's Bernie's message, because of her insincerity and you could point to her record, and it's just,
I mean, she just feels so flimsy and easily influenced by people who have been there longer. So,
but that's, I'm sorry, but I keep interrupting, but that's our perspective as leftists disappointed by her.
Right.
But for the middle people, I don't know how, it's hard for me to get in their view, but they're sort of coming to Bernie and her for the first time after being trained to sort of hate her. But then, so they have that position, and they come in, and let's say she gets smacked around by a Republican that's not such a lightweight that could actually bring, I don't know. It's a formula to lose an easy election to me, as much as I like economic populism as a centrist sort of view.
Yeah. I just don't trust her at all. She's been all over the place, and she definitely feels like, listen, whatever you think about Bernie and how he's disappointed us, there is, even when he takes votes that I don't agree with, and I wildly don't agree with, and I don't agree with his framing on making Israel's genocide just Netanyahu, right? But he is honest about what he thinks, and that is appealing to people. So even when you don't agree with him, he'll be like, nope, Israel has a right to exist and blah, 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 whatever. He'll say his thing. I don't agree with it, but he's not hedging and waffling and trying to tiptoe around what he thinks because he's talking to it. He'll just say what he thinks. Or he'll be like,
unless you ask him about Democrats.
Well, no, the truth is what he thinks is he's a Democrat. His good friend Joe was better than Trump. And that is where I parted ways entirely with him, because he made it very clear. And there was a time when Crystal Ball had him on, and it was on her show with Kyle Klinsky. And I think, the backstory or the rumor mill was that Bernie said he would not do it if Kyle Klinsky was there. So she interviews, and they're talking about well, what happened with the $15 minimum wage? And you guys were supposed to be fine. He's like, listen, you don't know what happens in the back rooms, whatever. And it's like, I don't like that at all. But there is something about him that feels like he's being very honest. He's protecting his Democratic pals. Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I can believe.
I don't know. She's so.
I can believe Bernie even when he's saying there's a backroom thing that you don't know about. Yes. And it doesn't transfer to AOC, who's like, oh, there's a backroom thing. You don't understand it when it comes to $15 minimum wage, why this didn't work. Because we have examples of her and this alleged squad not doing shit. So we have proof that she never fucking meant any of it. They didn't fight for it. They didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
The things she said that they would save the leveraging of the vote for, they never fucking did.
Yep.
where Bernie's the opposite his whole career, right? So so it doesn't transfer to her.
Yeah.
And I don't think the public transfers it to her, even with all these rallies next to Bernie.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have her like crying next to the migrants in cages, and then as soon as somebody else is putting him there, never talks about it again, right? Like it just all feels so much like wrestling. Thank you, thank you, Willie Bragg show. That is so nice. Socialist and dirtbag leftist. Thanks to you. The Democrats would rather have Liz Cheney than a lightweight like AOC, just as Pat referred to. Happy birthday once again. Thank you. Yeah. Well, yeah. And we're going to get into that. The whole I told you so. Okay. So let's go back to the Bernie stuff and the Democrats right now, just for a second. So, this is the thing that I think Democrats, that this is their only takeaway. Do more to oppose Trump. We just organized the hands off rally. We did it, guys. Like, that's what it feels like to me. Like, we heard you loud and clear.
Well, that's exactly it. That's kind of the problem with these rallies is like they got to parachute in and pretend that they were a big part of this stuff.
Yep.
When if they just, like I said, if they had their own thing and locally, they would get protested the shit out of. But they show up at this thing and they get to act like these people are here for me, us Democrats, heroes.
Protest washing. What's the not greenwashing? What would it be called? Greenwashing, pinkwashing.
What's the military thing? Stolen valor.
Valor washing. Valor washing. I like it. That's good, Pat. Trademark that. All right. So even though it has taken Bernie way too long to speak out against what Israel's doing in Gaza, or to Palestinians overall, and even though he still will only frame it as a Netanyahu issue and the far right as opposed to a Zionist project, he did have two resolutions go forward, and there were a total of 15 Democrats, I think, who joined him, or 14. These are the people, every Republican and 29 Democrats voted against Bernie and voted to continue sending weapons to destroy, decimate, slaughter Palestinians. And I mean, and Lebanon and Yemen and Syria. Like, I mean, it's just,
And I'm not saying this is bad. And Zaina says this is objectively good. I agree. I mean, it gets more people. It's a public vote, and let's see it. But this is also like Democrats in the off season wanting Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we have no power now. I'm going to put this bill up for Medicare for all so I can run on it. I was this leftist guy for fucking the next 4 election cycles.
Well, I totally agree with you. Although on this, he did put something up under Biden. And actually, I think he had 4 more. I think there's a chance that, was it Cory Booker? There were 4 more Democrats who were with him under Biden who are now not with him, which is crazy.
Yeah, but it's look, if you're trying to stop the war, you come out against Zionism. So it's grandstanding. I'm sorry. Yes, keep doing these things, but I'm not going to give him points because he's not doing shit that actually is stopping it. So,
well, he still calls Hamas terrorists and says that they have to put down their weapons and all that kind of stuff. That's just equivocating and like basically preventing people from fighting for their liberation.
So,
does Palestine have a right to exist?
Right. Is Bernie better on COVID than most people? Yeah. Okay, sure. But he was the chair of the fucking Senate Health Committee. He's the top guy on this shit. So I'm not giving him a pass for COVID either. So Bernie can fucking eat a dick too. He's such a fucking letdown.
I agree. Did you put this Bernie bill thing in here? I haven't looked at it. I don't know. Is it like, okay, I'm going to put it up here. I did it. This was me. But this is the framing. Yesterday, every single Republican and 30 Democrats supported Trump's. So again, it's like, supported Trump's $8.8 billion bomb shipment to help Netanyahu continue his annihilation of the Palestinian people. This isn't what the American people want. Below are my floor remarks to stop the sale. But like, he did not blame it on Biden when he was trying to do it before, right? Like, so the language is always a little squishy, and there's always like exit ramps when it gets too uncomfortable, which is really
yeah. And I don't hate Bernie. I still think he means well, but like, you got to do something now. So, okay. So these rallies you're out there rallying people with, they don't have a plan for what to do with the people. So what, like you got, what's the guy for Zakir? God, I always forget.
Wait, who are you talking about? Fez Shakur?
Yes. Thank you.
Fez?
I'm so bad with his name.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry.
Fez.
Yeah.
Asking people on Twitter, what should we do with this crowd? Do you have ideas?
Sorry, but I don't know if that's who said it. So I don't want to, I just got a name, but I don't know who it is that actually did it.
His former campaign manager, it was last week.
Okay.
He was like, hey, we're open to ideas on how to leverage this power, that kind of thing. But you should have those when you have why. Like, what did you not have a mission statement when you got these people together with this rally? Like,
yeah,
it shouldn't just be a Democratic PR thing. I mean, I know it's not for Democrats. He's saying go vote for independents. He's doing the whole take over the party thing.
I mean, I think he is still really clear on what the issues are, the economic issues.
Yeah, he's right on all the issues.
Yeah.
But like, for me to get a text from this Bernie guy today or yesterday about going to his rally, when that's the network of people that Bernie created in 2016, they've been around this whole fucking time.
Yeah,
they could be telling us to fucking prepare for a general strike on April 17th.
That's the most disappointing thing to me. Well, there's so many disappointing things about Bernie, but one of the most disappointing things is that he basically disbanded his supporters. And it was the same thing that Obama did. And it was a really instructive moment when Obama for America was like let loose, because that was grassroots. People thought in 2008 that Obama was truly progressive, was going like hope and change. He was going to do, some kind of universal health care. We were going to end our wars. He, was constantly denigrating Hillary for her coziness with Wall Street. And the second he took the advice of Citibank, and that was his cabinet, and then disbanded the true grassroots outside energy. So, yeah, I mean, Bernie's done some great stuff. He goes around, when he's pulling in Republicans or people who are, socialism, and then he talks to them about like concrete policies and what they deserve as just human rights. I think that's a wonderful way of doing things, but he's convinced a majority of the people. So as you're saying, like, now it's time for action. What are the actual demands and what are we doing?
Yeah.
And that
if his campaign manager is asking Twitter for ideas on it, we have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. They need to be ideas on it, not, hey, why did you pick AOC to go around the country with you? You picked AOC because you're setting her up for an election, right? Yeah. That's it. So what else? Don't give me an electoral solution to this, because we know it's not there. It could be there in 50 years, but we don't have time for 50 years from now when fascism is here.
They're rounding people up and sending them to dungeons in countries they've never even belonged to. I mean, yeah. Okay, so there's a couple more Democratic things, and then we'll move on to Republicans, although we've got the whole I told you so that this should go into. So I don't know. We are really we're bobbing and weaving. We're doing the Trump bob and weave.
Weave.
I know. So this came out, which is so gross. At the same time that Kamala's like, I'm not here to tell you I told you so. Tell you I told you so. Her husband, Doug Emhoff, is working at a law firm that's cut a deal with Trump. This is from Corey Robin. Among various concessions, the firm has agreed to gut its DEI programs and to take on pro bono clients fighting alleged anti-Semitism. Emhoff was brought into the firm as a partner in January. His specific portfolio was to advise corporations about matters with significant reputational concerns. The firm announced its deal with Trump just hours after Emhoff told Georgetown law students that the rule of law is under attack, democracy is under attack, and so all of us lawyers need to do what we can to push back on that. Us lawyers have always been on the front lines fighting for civil rights, for justice. I love being a lawyer. This is what we do. We fight for people. We fight for what's right. In the last 2 weeks, Trump has been marveling at the capitulation of various law firms to his demands. They're all bending and saying, "Sir, thank you very much," Trump has said. Law firms are just saying, "Where do I sign? Where do I sign?" So
her VP, when their whole fight is like really about DEI programs and the social stuff, that's
right.
It's important stuff, but like it's not everything, right? So that's their alleged public fight, is the DEI stuff, and
right. Although it's
also the thing they're saying.
Yeah,
and it's also the thing they're saying we can just abandon so we can win.
Yeah, we went.
And here he is saying, "Yeah, we're going to comply with that. We're going to abandon the DEI stuff too." And we promised to also be very Israeli.
Yeah, we're going to fight anti-Semitism.
We're going to go
rampant anti-Semitism.
We're going to be Zionists, and we're going to get rid of DEI. Is that a party? And she's allegedly the front runner already for 2028. Is that resistance? No, is the answer.
It's just Vichy Dems. I mean, they are selling us out every chance they get. We know this, which is why, we know exactly who they are. They are working for their donors. They are capitalists. Capitalism is a right-wing ideology. So anybody who's wearing that badge proudly is an enemy of the working class, actually. This was interesting to me, and it's only because Carville, I think, is very clear because he's an Obama Clinton guy, and they are not fans truly of Kamala's. I don't think they have a lot of faith in her, even though they'll, end up towing the line. But I think it's far enough out that they're not worried about what it will do to their careers if they come out against her. Carville actually called law firms making deals with Trump, collaborators. Now, I think the whole Democratic Party is one big fascist collaborator, but the fact that he is calling this out at the same time, it's very clear that a lot of the people who were part of Obama's administration, part of Biden's administration, like they all have gone off to do things either to completely bend the will to Trump or working for companies that are doing his bidding, busting unions, working for Uber, working for, so that is interesting. He at least feels he has to signal that way.
Right. I agree. I mean, it is signaling. Look, here's the guy. He told us that Trump was cooked 1,000,000 times. He's like the Rachel Maddow of like, we got him now. It's over.
TikTok.
It's done. But he's famously known for one thing being right about one thing, which was it's the economy is stupid. That phrase is uttered by Carville, but that will hold every fucking election cycle. And if the establishment wanted Kamala ages ago, but they realized how terrible she is.
Yeah.
And so now he's fighting for she's so terrible, we can't have her piece. Like that's what this is really about. He's like, we got to move on from her, get rid of her. Like, I think that's it. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's just, well, there's such liars and they're all just angling for more money and more career. It's not that he believes in anything. He is married to a Republican. He is basically
Mary
a
Madkin.
Republican. Yeah. They just don't like that Trump is like grotesque about it. But anybody who's like, oh, I miss George W. is a fucking fascist asshole. And George W. Bush and Biden have a way higher body count than Trump. I mean, Trump's getting there. He's also vile. But like, let's not, all they care about is that Trump is déclassé. And that's why they didn't like George W. also, by the way, right? Like he was Texas and, you know, he couldn't hide his swagger and, you know, his little reading the goat story. I mean, he was like, that's what they really disliked. They have no problem with the corporatism. You know, every time they talk about like the Supreme Court, they don't talk about the fact that all of the supposed progressives they're all corporatists. It's one big corporatist party.
Yeah, and look, I think when they bring up collaborators, when he brings it up, and when they're talking about this, they're upset because their stock portfolios are getting wrecked. Like that's really what this is all about for the guys like Carville. Like now, and it's true, and this is where Trump is really fucked up because he's wrecking stocks. Regular people are leaving him. His billionaires just lost $500 billion in 2 days, you know, and that's not coming back. Like part of like what was factored into this drop in the stock market was that people already knew he was going to put these tariffs in place, and they put them in place. And they're like, holy shit, this is much worse than we thought. So the normal sort of market had already factored in his stupid policies.
Yeah.
And it's just going to continue. He's not going to skate out of this and hit a point where the economy is going to fucking tank. I'm telling people, like, get a tent, get a fucking rowboat. Like we are headed towards actual depression level stuff here in the US in the next 2 years.
And again, like coming back, because I've never had any faith in Republicans. They're evil. They've always hated us, and they haven't even pretended to want my vote ever. But Democrats could be fighting for things that would truly help, not just saying, get your ass back from the golf course, right? Like when Obama says, well, if we get to 2 or 3 degrees Celsius, you know, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. No, that's billions of people dying, right? Like saying healthcare is a human right, but I would veto Medicare for all. All of that is what got us here, not fighting for a living wage, like all of that. So it's exactly what you're saying. They're embarrassed. They're fine with genocide. They're fine with mass death and disability from COVID. They're fine with public education being totally gutted and moving to a charter and private school system. They're fine with not increasing the minimum wage. They're fine with union busting, honestly. They're fine with crushing strikes. So what are they fighting for? Like, if you're not fighting against a genocide, we're not on the same team anyway. Like, there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, that piece. But like, just to bring it back to the economic piece, it's so easy now to make the economic argument for a minimum wage increase. Like you said, like tie all this economic pain that's going to hit everybody, and have the people whose stock markets portfolios are getting hit recognize that, hey, these people need jobs. They can't buy shit. They can't buy your products, you know, that are like, it's everybody now. And Democrats could have such an easy win if electoral politics even mattered to them.
Yeah.
By just leaning into this messaging, even if it was just fucking fake messaging, but they can't do it because their donors are still going to say, why are you fighting for a minimum wage? That's going to cost me and my Starbucks company, you know, I'm going to make $3 million less than I did last year when I already make fucking $20 billion.
Yeah.
So stop it.
Yeah. All gross. They're gross. The one last thing, this was Case Study QB put this together, but it's just to go off on Cory Booker and just what a lying bag of slime he is. This little clip.
What about people that look at the Democratic Party right now and said, you know, this man was debilitating, and you have the Republicans leaning on the fact that you hid that from the American people, and they think that that plays a role in things that are being held against you right now as a party. To that, you say what?
Well, I don't even know why that's an issue. I talked, by the way, Joe Biden called me today. He sounded very compos mentis, got very argumentative, not argumentative with me, but very fired up when he was talking to me. I don't know, man.
Right.
I never saw it.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling. And I think that Castro has some really legitimate concerns about, can he be someone in a long, grueling campaign that can get the ball over the line? And he has every right to call that out. I do think that tone and tenor is really important, and we can respect President Biden and disagree with him. I tried to show that in the CNN debate, where he and I have strong different disagreements. But we shouldn't do things that at the end of this, when you demonize somebody and create bad blood, it's hard to unify afterwards.
Do you shout out, like every single show of ours, we use clips from Case Study QB. He's amazing. He does such great work. So thank you. But yeah, you know, Pat, as I'm looking through the I told you stuff, that's all Dems. I feel like we should just quickly run through that before we move to Republicans and Israel, right? Just so we do this. Okay, so this was Kamala not telling us I told you.
We're saying people stay quiet. We are seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating to clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of fear. Because, you know, there were many things that we knew would happen.
Oh, this is the quote.
Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so. But I'll say this, fear has a way of being contagious. Okay? When one person has fear, it has a way of spreading to those around them and spreading. And we are witnessing that, no doubt. But I say this also, my dear friends, courage is also contagious. Courage is also contagious.
Yeah.
I feel
so that's where
I want to introduce her to a man named Doug Emhoff.
Right. I mean, the line she just said about people capitulating to unconstitutional threats. That's your fucking husband. Literally right there. Doug Emhoff capitulating to unconstitutional threats to remove DEI from your programs. Like, a law firm is making a contractual agreement with the Trump administration to get rid of DEI and go after people who are anti-Zionist. Shut the fuck up, lady.
The thing of, you know, it's like the butthurt emails or longing for when the only scandal was Obama's tan suit, you know, like she told us so. We told you that if you continued supporting genocide, you would lose. Told you so. 29% of non-voters who supported Biden in 2020 said U.S. support for the genocide was the top reason they sat the 2024 election out. We told you that campaigning with historically unpopular Trump supporter, because she voted with him in 92.9% of the time, Liz Cheney, wasn't going to be helpful. And we were right. She didn't gain any Republican votes. And instead, she probably lost a lot of former Democrat votes.
Yeah, we told you so, Democratic Party. Why are you out here lecturing the public on telling us when we said drop the genocide, support a fucking single thing like healthcare? Like, we told you can't win this way. Even the ones of us that wanted you to win, I didn't give a shit because I knew you were full of it entirely.
Right.
And I want the Democratic Party to die. But if you want to win, I can give you the formula to win. I can give you some tips on this. And it's, hey, support a single fucking thing. Pretend to support a single fucking thing the public wants.
Yeah. And then you've got Obama doing the same thing. And all of a sudden he's developed a stutter. Did you see this? It's incredible. Like he's sitting there. Where is it? Oh, here.
Imagine if I had done any of this. Let me just, I just want to be clear about this. Imagine that imagine if I had pulled Fox News' credentials from the White House press corps. You're laughing, but no, this is what's happening. Imagine if I'd said to law firms that were representing parties that were upset with policies my administration had initiated, that you will not be allowed into government buildings. We will punish you economically for dissenting from the Affordable Care Act, or
great place to stop. Let's just.
I'm glad you stopped that. Thank you. I didn't have another 2 minutes of that left.
I mean, ran on universal health care, but at least a public option, pulled it immediately. And by the way, just so we know, like I know we all know, but since the Affordable Care Act, which was a Heritage Foundation project, healthcare, it's a health insurance giveaway that forced people to buy private insurance. People are spending way more on health insurance than they ever did before. Also, Obama used the Espionage Act and imprisoned journalists and whistleblowers. I think more than, wait, the statistic is here. Sorry, I'm going to get really small, but
they sued the fuck out of everyone.
Everybody.
And all the journalists got sued under him.
A war against whistleblowers and official leakers. On his watch, there have been 8 prosecutions under the 1917 Espionage Act, more than double those under all previous presidents combined. So he was horrible on that. He was known as the deporter in chief. And we've talked about this before, but when they were first coming after Trump for kids in cages and that family separation policy, which was Obama actually had Tom Homan in his administration, who then went on to do that, right? This is a bipartisan thing. But he 3,600% increase in funding to ICE. Deporter in chief, had kids in cages that people were circulating pictures of when they thought it was under Trump, but it was actually pictures from under Obama. The first forced hysterectomies by ICE were happening under Obama. Bombed 7 countries. I think he's the only president for his whole 8 years was waging war on 7 countries. There was not a moment of peace. Like,
yeah, his speech about imagine if he had done it, like the press would have been all over him. No, Fox News would have been, but the press, if you call the press, CNN and MSNBC, gave him a pass on every fucking thing.
It's just so gross. It's so gross. And, and then I know we're going to spin the wheel and move on, but one of the people that I've been following, like who's a good COVID account, One Good Turn, but he's in the UK, and I think, possibly didn't have a very good handle on how terrible Democrats were on COVID, Biden, and that he brought in his people basically to manufacture the end of COVID in spite of persistent infections and death and disability and all that kind of stuff. But he just wrote, a thread on Twitter where it's like, he's finally realizing it. And it was interesting because if this is the journey that liberals make for it to click in, I mean, it feels drastically late. But I really do think that that's what's starting to happen. It's dancing at the edge of my ability to express it, but I have an intuitive, this is like, please, dude, intuitive, just read what was happening since Biden came in. But I have an intuitive sort of feeling that the current destruction of public health in America isn't a turnaround from the policies under Biden, but a natural next step of the progression. So
wait, can I hit the clapping sound effect?
It's like acting like Trump is an anomaly instead of the natural endpoint, or not endpoint, but, continuum of this disgusting capitalist society that we have. I've been banging on for 5 years about the foolishness of ignoring the science of what COVID and other infections do to you, ignoring the harm caused. So now he's finally but you can see he's like embarrassed to say it, because how dare you say something against Democrats when there is an evil Republican in power, even though it's what Democrats did that led to that evil.
If Democrats didn't pave the way by saying, oh, take your mask off, who needs this? If they didn't mock masks themselves when the science was clearly not there, that's pure gaslighting. If you had a left that just rolled from Biden's administration and we were still being COVID safe, precautions, even if we weren't quarantining, we were still like, hey, you should wear your mask at least, the economy has to go on, but so please wear your mask. We're going to help get those out there. If you go from that to Trump, there's a contrast, and the Democrats are still going to be wearing masks and protecting themselves. And you can make the argument about science, and now Democrats can't make the argument about science because that makes Biden look bad. And ultimately they want the same capitalism go on, and they don't give a fuck about us workers on any level. But extrapolate that to every issue, and that's every issue.
Yeah.
They are no different from the end goal of satisfying their own fucking donors, who are the same for both parties.
It's surprising to me that there are people who are still just coming around, as Jen said, welcome to the party, pal. But it's necessary. They have to understand it. And I think, we get so many people who are sort of more our normie Dem friends. Like, why are you still talking about Democrats when Republicans are in power? As if they're two separate entities, instead of the only people who we have any hope of possibly listening to us are the people who pretend to want our votes, right? And again, Republicans never have ever tried to get my vote. I found them despicable. I would never vote for a Republican ever. And the reason that I'm so furious with Democrats is because they were supposed to be the opposition. And instead, they have completely collaborated, enabled, and been complicit in all of this.
No, they take up the space where an opposition should exist. And it takes half of the energy out of any opposition, because they can also sell to you on it's a duopoly, it's a two-party system, like it or leave it, lesser evil, the same shit we've heard for decades. But that brings us back to the mixed feelings on Bernie and these rallies. It's like, it's undeniable that Bernie right now in these rallies is waking up a group of people that are late to the party. Like, that's really what it is, as Jen said. They are late to the party, but they're sincerely late to the party. They're not like, it's not a gaslighting thing. A lot of these people are like super fired up for Bernie for the first time when they hated him 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately good. It's just we got to get them past that in a hurry to the next thing.
And we need to know what the next thing is.
Yeah. Can we have the next thing?
That's the problem. Like, what's the next thing? That's the problem. All right. The next thing is fucking horrible. So let's spin the wheel because.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the next thing is great because it's the wheel and there's drinking involved.
God. I mean, Democrats really, really rely on Trump to make them look at all less repugnant or horrifying or whatever, because without him, they need him.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. Not doing a third shot, but I am having a second glass of wine, and I will spin again. 1 second. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, baby.
I'm gonna let you pick. Which one of these did you like?
All right, let's actually do a sort of fun one. And hey, let's do something for our weed enjoyers. Here we go.
Okay.
Something for those of us who enjoy the weed.
I mean, back in our day, we just would smoke in a closet and you get the, the contact high or whatever, the hot boxing, but that was next level. Oh my God.
That was like a human bomb.
And,
that's
and
commitment.
Back in my day, the weed was like 1/10 the strength it is now. So Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know, because I always just got it from very generous men. And now I walk into something that looks like, Walmart or something. I'm like, I need a little something that feels like wine, but I also gotta go to sleep, and it's a whole different world. Yeah, it is a giant gravity human bong. Okay, let's move on. Jesus. This is Trump's White House putting this video out. Do not come.
Can I just say, like, it was all brown males, obviously Hispanic males, but they all look like workers that are doing work. Like, white people don't want the jobs that these people that they're deporting largely have. So like the narrative of it's good for America to get rid of these people that are in the dirt, hardworking people. Like, it's just overwhelmingly disgusting. And to put this out on a presidential level, it's just next level.
Like, it's so evil and cruel.
Taking the country so far so fast.
And I have to say, I don't think actually that it's appealing to the people he thinks it is. I mean, yes, there is a small segment of like truly disgusting people. I think too many people are understanding these are my friends, these are my neighbors, these are people who work for me. Even like his Republican, some of who own businesses are like, it's so vile. Some of them probably have visas maybe are married to US citizens, might have children who are US citizens. You're breaking up families. And again, the thing of like just coming here and crossing here illegally, because we make it so hard, because it's a bipartisan project to not solve this. They are escaping, most of them are escaping conditions that we caused by destroying their country, their home countries, by financing the, insurgent or rebellious, right-wing militias who overthrow democratic governments, or governments who, don't want to produce things just so that the US can steal their resources. But nobody's ever going to get to that. And so now we have this level of cruelty. And, just because I'm like going through all of it, but I do feel like so many of the things that are happening right now are being framed as protecting the US or protecting Jews against anti-Semitism. And that to me is so deep. First of all, it's dangerous. It's a lie, but it is also deeply anti-Semitic. How so much of this is being framed. And I think that, as they are deporting people for speaking out against a genocide, and it's moved, they very quickly have migrated to labor, right? Organizers, they're getting rid of. It's happening so fast. And the fact that Democrats and Indivisible wouldn't make that part of this groundswell of millions of people coming together to fight shows that they are not serious about what that is.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, on just an economic level, if you're really going after these workers, when you're at a time when you're saying, we're going to cut off, we're putting tariffs on clothing. So all your clothing is going to be crazy expensive right now. So who do you think is going to pay? How are you have no capability of building factories and paying workers at a wage locally in the US that can compete on any level with something grander, in the rest of the world. Like we just can't do it because the cheap labor in these other countries will always price us out of clothing. So we're not going to be able to do it. But like all the people in these lower tier jobs, you're going after them. You need people willing to work for these shit jobs. I mean, it's just the sad part about our country,
Well,
but
yeah, I'm not co-signing that, but I'm going to let you keep talking and then we can go.
But
yeah, I mean, not go, but then, yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying, and I know you're not like defending people working for slave wages. I know that's not what you're saying.
I'm just saying ultimately our economy survives on that because that's the system we have right now. So if you look at the economic impacts of threatening, so these people, these hardworking people that are getting deported right now, right? A vast majority of them, if they were not undocumented, they were paying taxes, but now the IRS has got access to the tax information and residential status or whatever. So you got these people, they're now scared to pay they have been paying their taxes out of wanting to do the right thing. And then you're going to say economically, we're not going to have the tax income from these people.
Right.
We're not going to have these people here to fill the jobs that our shitty fucking system has in place that they should be getting paid way more for.
Yep.
So, and you got the GOP guys going on TV saying openly, well, those jobs are going to be fulfilled by good people in the US who somehow are going to get rich off these fucking shit jobs.
Yeah.
Because we are at economic collapse here in a year.
We are 100% like collapsing empire. Yes.
So yes, jobs will be filled by Americans, but that can't be good for this country that people are going to take these extremely low wage jobs. I mean, it's not good for humanity. It's not good for anybody that these jobs even ever existed, that NAFTA and all of this, global trade so that companies
like Apple could get away with, slave labor in China, where they put nets there so that when people try to escape their misery and jump to their deaths, they're caught and brought right back up. And that's how we know billions are made from people. And if there were truly, tariffs are just taxes. And there is a way to, as a leader of the United States, which at one point was, the most powerful country in the world and had some soft power as well, with a different leader, you could possibly use our great wealth to influence other countries to uphold certain humanitarian standards. But nobody in power was interested in anything like that. And so now it's like these band-aids being thrown on different problems. But until we force owners, manufacturers, CEOs around the world, but certainly in our own country, to uphold a certain level, but there's no plan for that. So we're just going to put tariffs that poor people are going to have to pay. Nobody's going to be able to afford anything. People keep being blamed for being consumers when that's the only freedom we've been given, is you can buy, as you were saying, like your flat screen TV, which is going to become a phone. It's like, oh, don't, everybody gets to have his own phone. Now that's too expensive. Now nobody can afford anything. We're all living in a cart. We're all going to be sitting around Pat's phone. That's going to be our new movie theater, right? Like there's no plan to help lift everybody up. And as long as that's where we are, but here's the thing is, what's going to happen when he gets rid of all the brown people? His MAGA crowd, they're not going to find themselves in a better situation. They still can't afford healthcare. And like, I think he's lost most of them. I mean, he's wildly unpopular right now.
He has lost a lot of them, and nothing economically is going to fix this and solve it for the problem he has right now is that he's got his top guys, his economic advisors, going on TV to calm the stockholders down about all these problems and saying automation is going to fix this. We don't have a labor force, but don't worry, the cheap clothes will be made by automation. And that automation, that's going to provide all kinds of jobs. There's going to be electricians that have to go build to help wire the factories up, and look at all those jobs for these skilled, but these high school graduates. They're bragging that it's going to be just, you don't have to go to college to have these jobs in our administration. You're going to be a electrician that works on a factory that makes clothes. But let me tell you, as an electrician, that job is going to pay for a week or 2 or 3 to build the place, and then someone's going to come back every maybe 2 weeks or so for a 3 or 4 hour job to put a new thing in and fix a thing. Those aren't jobs. Like right. to make the argument these factories that are robotic are going to provide jobs is just fucking stupid and evil. And MAGA folks, the working class MAGA folks, they know what their job entails. They know what an electrician does. They know what a plumber does. They know what all these things are. You can't bullshit your way out of this automated factory is going to provide all these jobs, because they know that's bullshit.
Right.
So it's all falling apart.
Yeah, we need a plan. We need to manufacture things here and provide people with just basic human dignity. Do you want to show the Latinx stuff, or?
Yeah, let's listen to that piece of shit.
All right.
Now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like clothing manufacturing, that's tough to bring back. But what kind of manufacturing are you talking about returning here?
Well, you can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world. I mean, think of what our factories did. They went to the cheapest labor in the whole world, slave labor, cheap labor, the worst environmental conditions, polluting the heck out of it. And then we bring back those cheap products here and we feel good about ourselves because we don't see the pain. But
what's his plan? What's his plan?
We replace cheap labor with robotics. And so that's good for his stock price and the stock prices of people, but that's not good for an economy and working class who also need to buy these products. And your goal with tariffs is to get people to buy American stuff because everything else coming in overseas is too expensive. But they don't have any money. Your workers don't have any money because they all have low paid jobs now. So it's a formula built on failure. It will never happen. It's not going to happen, but this is what they want to happen.
Yep.
They're
just protecting their own. Yeah. I mean, it's like why we can't get the BYD electric cars, right? Like it's a 100% tariff or something.
But if you're selling MAGA folks on the idea that robotics is going to make things better for them, they're not buying that shit at all. And they look at this douchebag with his message, and they look at Elon cutting every fucking safety net in the country, and they look at nothing coming back to them, and they look at farmers upset because they understand that everything they buy for their farm stuff is more expensive. Every single thing on earth is more expensive for them. And those prices are coming to hit us buying every single product we ever fucking buy. And we already can't afford a $500 sudden bill. And you're telling me, yeah, everything in this country is going to be more expensive, but look, we got to go through some pain.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Right.
It's a sacrifice he's willing to make.
It ain't going to last for that long. Racism can't prop that up long enough when even the racists are getting hurt by this shit economically.
Yeah. And also, I mean, interesting, like to get rid of everybody that you're blaming for the poor economy, even though that's a lie. But like, then what do they have? What do they have to stand on? Like, what are you going to do at that point? If you're deporting everybody, right? So then what? I mean, they're just going to criminalize all of us and use us as slave labor. Yeah. It's just
do we have the next one? I want to show because this is Lutnick again. This is what I was talking about, the electricians. This part,
great American workers. You know, we are going to replace
on other
the
networks.
armies of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America, our high school educated Americans, the core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
Are you?
It doesn't even make sense. It's all going to be replaced by AI, and it's going to be great jobs.
HVAC is heating and air, right? So heating and air, you put in once and you're done with it. Like, this is not this is not a career of like, this factory provides jobs. There's one HVAC guy is going to be called back one time if there's a problem over a year, maybe. But once you get the factory built, you got like 3-4 years of not even an issue that needs a service repairman. So jobs in this regard are just utterly crap. This is nonsense. It's a lie. It's not a long-term fix. And even if we built 1 million factories, we had a moonshot program to build all these factories in the US. Once they're built, these people don't have jobs because there's nothing to do after you build them. So this is just bullshit. And no one knows it more than the MAGA folks that are working class because they have those jobs.
Yeah. And again, like there's a way, what we were first, and Audrey is saying, did anyone ask if we wanted that? Yeah. This whole like AI takeover has not been democratically approved. There's been no conversation about it. We're being told by the Sam Altmans of the world, there's going to be a new social contract. We are the richest country in the history of the world. The only period of time that was great in this country was when we were taxing wealthy people at 90%. That's when we had a New Deal. That's when the president was so popular for all of his racism and anti-Semitism and empire building and all of that shit. FDR, home policies, if you were white, were so popular that he was voted into office 4 times. Even Eisenhower Like, I think that the tax rate was 90% for wealthy people. That is the only thing that is going to change what's happening. And I understand the MMT, but what it does is it prevents people from hoarding all the wealth. It prevents them from being able to affect policy at the same level they are. Of course, we need money out of politics, but we have to take them down. We have to redistribute the wealth the way they have over the past 4 decades. So great. I would love AI to take over factory jobs, give everybody a UBI, or put them to work doing other things. We need a lot of stuff. We could have like service, like a true government service industry, a job guarantee, a UBI, whatever. I don't care if people don't have to go into coal mines and get black lung. Good. Let's use robots for that, for anything that is dangerous.
The new social contract should be everyone has a house or a roof over their home. Right. Everyone has housing. Apartment, fine. Even a bare minimum apartment. Everyone has housing. Everyone can fucking eat. That's a contract. Like, hey, we have enough money in this world to just feed fucking everyone. Can everyone just eat? Okay, fine. Healthcare. Every other country, every other major industrialized country has figured out how to provide healthcare. So that should be part of our basic coverage. And then after that, like, robotics can lead to helping us. It can actually help us. Like, hey, we got our basic contract of food, shelter, and fucking, healthcare.
Yep.
After that, I don't like, that's why healthcare is my top issue. Because how are we not equal when somebody else can live longer just because they have fucking money? Like, this is stupid. We're not progressing as a society if we don't take care of people with basic food. Like in Rome, fucking 1500 BC or whatever, you took care of people like this. How long are we going to have a society and pretend we have society when I walk out my street and every day I see 10 more homeless people? Like, what is happening? Like, the contract is getting worse, and this guy and Trump and all these people are saying our new contract is even fucking worse for you fucking people, you fucking dumbasses.
Well,
and we're taking it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, sorry. I'm trying to read everybody's comments and it's all so good, but like, it's just so frustrating because even the thing, and this is like a lot of liberals like talk about the homeless problem. Why is there a homeless problem?
It's a housing problem. It's the rent's too fucking expensive. Because BlackRock runs our country.
Yeah. And people aren't making proper wages, right? Like, I mean, it's like, it's systemic. It's not just like people decide to be homeless out of the blue. Like,
no.
Poor countries. Why are there poor countries? They're not poor. They have tons of resources. That's why empire has, gone and taken over their countries and colonize them to steal their wealth. There is enough for everybody, but there is a segment of the population that is so pathologically greedy, they will never have enough, and it's a death cult. They're fine.
And that death cult still donates enough to both parties that they are beholden to both parties. This is the easiest election in history to win. If you just get in line with the people, you come out, you say your social contract is those 3 things.
Yep.
That's it. Easy win. Like, any consultant that actually, was interested in winning would suggest that stuff. But they can't go near any of it. They can't. They're on the wrong side of it on the donor class. Their donor class doesn't want any of that shit to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't want to win if that's how they win, which is why I don't care if Democrats win, because we're not on the same side. Like, it doesn't matter. All right. I did think it was interesting because I don't watch Face the Nation often at all, but do they normally talk about like union jobs? Because it is interesting that now she is talking to Letnick about, but will those be union jobs? I'm just curious if she's ever talked about union jobs before. On KTLA, they were talking about Medicare for all and how, like, that's our, little local LA station. Like, that's interesting to me. Never heard them talk about Medicare for all. I mean, I think people are starting to realize that even the people who are privileged enough to feel like it's not going to affect them are so much closer to being homeless than they are to being protected on any level.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's hitting people that were never at risk of this stuff. I mean, when you have Musk on TV talking about you got people benefiting from all these programs he's talking about, finding fraud and cutting, and they know it's just bullshit. It's I don't know what to say.
Yeah. And then do we even all right, I think we're not going to be able to really get into Israel the way to do it justice, but just to go to sort of some of the First Amendment stuff that is really getting just trampled on all of our civil rights in this country, even more than under Biden. Although, of course, it was all set up under Biden.
Paved the way, absolutely.
Paved the way, for sure. So, this Beitar, which isn't I think they are considered a terrorist group. Even by the ADL has distanced themselves from Beitar. But we have started identifying, this is the group who, went up to Norm Finkelstein on the street and put a pager in his shirt. They did it to somebody else too. So they are coordinating now with Trump's government, with ICE, with universities. We have started identifying names of diaspora Jews we will recommend be banned from the state of Israel, just like Norm Finkelstein. Isn't that the place where all Jews are supposed to go to be safe? Lol. We are living in very dangerous times worldwide, and Jews unwelcome. We are glad Capo Norman Finkelstein has been banned. Beitar confirms we have added names to our ban list. Americans, Canadians, Latin American, French, and British Jews have been added. They're protecting Jews. They're fighting anti-Semitism as they're making lists of banned Jews. And here we go. We got Fordham University undergraduate students having their visas revoked. We have UCLA, Office of the President confirmed Friday, Trump administration revoked visas of multiple UC students. We've got Emerson firing a Jewish worker who runs a film program there. Not a program. She's not a teacher. She shows films, exhibits films on campus. And the reason that she is fired, a Jewish woman at Emerson, is because she was showing the film Israelism that was made by Jews about their experience growing up being Zionist Jews, completely enmeshed in that system. This is one of the leaders of Jewish Voices for Peace, whose name I can't remember right now. She went to Stanford. She worked with Hillel. She went on the birthright, and then she started waking up. And that's what the film's about. It's a great film, Israelism. Fired.
It's
Florida,
happening
Atlantic
everywhere.
University partnering with ICE. Yeah.
Yeah, and this isn't the U.S. This is not someone. It's a British island, but they are self-governed.
Okay.
But this is the first case of somebody. She was arrested for her pro-Palestinian tweets in this island and is facing trial soon.
I mean, it's just at the very beginning of the genocide when we were seeing videos and it was IDF soldiers barging into people, I think in the West Bank or East Jerusalem, and Palestinians who had liked something on social media and they were getting arrested. And now that's all come here. It is here. And, I've said this before, but Biden made Jews the face of the 21st century genocide. And Trump is now making Jews the face in protecting Jews from anti-Semitism, which is bullshit. He is making Jews the face of complete destruction of all of our liberal small L institutions, of our universities, which, by the way, universities and the left and communists and all of that, those are ways that our government, the US government, has historically gone after Jews, is going after intellectuals, communists, right? Those are code words for Jews, because that is, we're such a small part of the population. But now, in the name of defending Jews, he is making Jews the face of the complete destruction of whatever is left of the United States. So any Jews who think that this is good for Jews, I mean, I don't know, but
no, and of course,
on.
the worst people in the world that have already had anti-Semitic, inclinations and are part of these white supremacist groups, you're giving them more fodder to hate a people because of the actions of the Zionist government. But it's only going to increase actual anti-Semitism by all this bullshit.
And it's not, do you think Trump gives a single fuck about Jews or anti-Semitism? No, of course he doesn't. It's just money. It's just transactional. So none of this is good for anybody. I mean, it's horrific. And obviously it's horrible for immigrants who are being, shunted off to dungeons, and for people who are being arrested and thrown into prisons in Louisiana, and especially for Palestinians and Lebanese and, Syrians and Yemeni. I mean, obviously that is the most horrific thing that's happening, but
it's all under
home.
the guise of these good things that are not good things, is the point. You're fighting anti-Semitism with this, but even your excuses for this, it's worse for everybody involved.
It is so dangerous. And the fact that one of the few remaining good things in the US that we produce, whatever you think about the entertainment industry, it still has a hold on the world, right? We produce nothing here. We have Wall Street and hedge fund managers and whatever the fuck, and universities. And the Republican project to destroy education, to make everybody propagandize, to tell people to price it out so that most people can't even afford to go to university, or then they are burdened with debt. And to now make it so that universities can't talk about Black history in this country, redlining, slavery, racism, civil rights, can't talk about, in Middle Eastern studies, Palestinians being colonized and dominated and occupied by Israel. You can't talk about any of that. You're going to be propagandized. You're just going to learn the words we want you to learn.
And if you just look at it as a society, is it good to have people not want to go to college? Because the debt alone makes people not want to go to college. The suppression of free speech makes you not want to go to college. All this hypocrisy of college, and I don't know why somebody would want to spend $150,000 on a college diploma when, my nephews, I was just talking to them today about college, and they're going to college, and that's great, but they're both choosing the cheapest path possible, which is community college, and then get in after. But the debt they're going to incur from that, even that, it's just, we are telling society to not get more educated. And once you become educated, keep it quiet on these certain things. And it's just terribly bad for this country. Not that you have to go to college, but I went to college, I went to grad school. You should want a society that strives for more education, even if that's not your path. It's good for the society. You need these things.
Thinkers. People can think. And talk and create and analyze. Yeah, that's important. That's part of democracy. Otherwise, you don't have a democracy. There's no democracy if you don't know what's happening and you don't understand the context of it. So that's what they want. And you know, on some level, also not on some level, on many levels, bipartisan project. Who was waiting for Superman? Remember all the charter stuff under Obama? Cory Booker. I mean, what do you think you learn at college? You learn how to learn and how to think and who thought it before and what does this mean when workers revolt or when, you know, the people in charge are acting this way. Like it.
And where is the resistance and challenging force going to gather? Because colleges have always been that institution where we gather to
that's the other
fight
thing.
the issues. And that's when they own that piece.
Yeah.
It's going to make it really easy for the Cop City crew to come down when we're gathered in front of the White House or something, or we're gathered in front of our community center, a government building, you know, but like it was always the okay place, the accepted place is a college because this is freedom of ideas and we're debating and it's young people and they're taking that away. So like that's already a huge loss for this country. And
they want everybody desperate, scared, and getting to work right away.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is why, just to bring it all back around, as disgusting as it is that the Democratic Party is trying to co-opt the protests actually had a lot of anti-genocide, pro-Palestine, pro-free speech, anti-crackdown on civil rights. Like all of that was there with the people. And that's, you know, that's all we have, like to find that community, to get out there, to know that other people see what we see and to educate each other, right? Like that's really important also.
I agree. And since we are wrapping up here, I do want to end with that's important. Absolutely. But Lila is 1,000%. Not only is she 100% right, Lila, congratulations, 1,000%. We should go
happy birthday to me.
Since it's your birthday on Wednesday.
Happy 40th. By the way, I did see somebody, I think it was Kimmy, talk about OnlyFans. And I looked into it the other day because I was like, we're so fucked. And what if I could just but I was like, what about my IP? Do I have to get like an unlocator? There's a lot of stuff. Hit me up in the DMs if you know how to make it so that nobody could ever know that it's me. Because we're all
I know is I would never do that stuff. But I mean, pay pigs is fascinating. I love pay pigs. Do you know what pay pigs are?
No.
They're like, hey, they're like dominating women that are like, you loser, send me $1,000, you fucking piece of shit.
Shut up. Really?
And these people get rich off the pay pigs because it's a hook to some people that have money. So I would love I would love to
when I first moved out here, I met a woman who is a dominatrix, and one of her clients was Kevin Kline.
Yeah, there you go. Tap her brain on how to get some pay pigs.
She'd be like, I need you to cook for me, no furniture privileges. And when you're done with all that and vacuuming, I'm just going to tie you up and leave you there. And thank you all for believing that it's only my 40th. Lol.
Happy 40th.
All right. We love you guys. What a fucking world. What a shit show. We will be taking Wednesday off, which is my actual birthday, April 9th. And we will see you all next Sunday. We love you guys. Keep punching up. Cheers and free Palestine.
Cheers to you. Happy birthday, Lila. I love you so much. You guys are amazing. Your whole family is awesome. Great people. And everyone watching, thank you so much for making me feel sane as well. So
love you guys.
We'll see you next Sunday.
Cheers.
And continue with their plan of genocide.
Hello everyone, do you see the suffering of children? They should be dancing and strawberries that should be free to reach up for the gas and sunrise.